this is Janelle Frager. I was just checking to see if you were still planning on coming this evening to the candidate forum. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I did not see that come through. Nope, that's all right. No problem. Bye. Still working.
Good evening and welcome to the members of the public joining us for tonight's School Board Candidate Forum. I am Erin Pribble and I was invited by the Bluffton-Harrison PTO to serve as the forum moderator for tonight's event, which is scheduled to last approximately 1 hour. To my left is Janelle Freuger, who will be serving as timekeeper to the forum and will hold up a sign for the candidates to know how much time is remaining for their response. As a reminder, this forum is currently being broadcast live at meet.bhmsd.org. If you submitted questions for the candidate prior to the forum, thank you for your efforts. Please remember, due to time and the PTO's discretion, all public questions may not be posed to the candidates. Lastly, welcome and thank you to the candidates for attending this evening. We have 2 board member races in this year's school board election, consisting of 4 candidates. Mr. Michael Murray is also running unopposed in District 1. In preparation for tonight's forum, the BHES PTO sent invitations to all candidates on September 22nd. All 5 candidates responded, but unfortunately Mr. Mike Murray and Mr. Trent White are unable to join us this evening. The remaining 3 candidates are with us here this evening, and welcome. The 2 candidates running for the at-large seat, Mr. Hank Kobe and Mrs. Angie Sheets. For the other board member position, Mr. Neil Draper and Mr. Trent White are running for the District 3 seat. Tonight's forum will operate in the following manner. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for opening comments. Each candidate will be asked the same questions and provided a minute and a half to respond. Prior to tonight's forum, each candidate's name was put into a drawing to determine who would take the first question. Each question thereafter will be taken by the next board candidate in alphabetical order by district. Lastly, candidates were not provided the questions prior to tonight's forum. Angie Sheets, you were drawn to be the first candidate to respond. Following the last question of the evening, each candidate will be provided an opportunity for closing remarks of no more than 2 minutes. When speaking, we ask that you talk directly into the microphone so those online can hear you loud and clear. Are we ready? Wonderful. Opening statement, we'll start with you, Miss Angie Sheets. Thank you, Angie. Neil? Thank you, Neil. Hank? Thank you, Hank. Mike Murray, as I mentioned, was not able to be here this evening, but he did submit a letter that he wanted us to read to everyone. First, let me start off by saying how sorry I am that I'm unable to attend in person to tonight's BHMSD School Board Candidate Forum put on by our wonderful PTO committee. I just wanted to give something to the PTO committee to read for tonight's in-person forum, so if people do not know who I am, they will be able to reach out to me in the future if they have any needs or questions. My name is Mike Murray, and I'm a 1986 graduate of Bluffton High School. I am married to my beautiful wife of 30 years, Mary Murray, who is also a 1986 Bluffton High School graduate. We have two daughters, Katie, the past 2 years, I have also served as the ISBA Legislative Liaison Committee through ISBA for Region 3 to help develop the legislative priorities and foundational statements that have been presented to the Delegate Assembly the past 2 years at the ISBA's annual fall conferences in Indianapolis. I want to thank each and one of the and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Sincerely, Mike Murray. We're going to go on with our next question. The next question will be addressed to Neil first. Please share a little bit about yourself and why you are running the school board.
Sure. I think my background lends well to a school board. I run a board myself, being a CEO, so I think the dynamic I understand a little bit more about. I also have 2 kids in the school system, so I think I have a pretty vested interest in the way the school system's run and how we present ourselves as a community, because honestly, the school is a community. It sounds like a lot of us are in the same boat where we didn't branch off very far. So I think that's fairly typical with rural school systems and communities, that we don't necessarily leave home. So the better education we can get in our school system, the better our community as a whole going forward forever.
Yes, please.
Please share a little bit about yourself and why you are running the school board.
Okay. Again, I'm Hank Kobe. For the last 15 years or so, I've volunteered a lot of organizations around the city, helping kids. I've been part of basketball, t-ball, soccer. I'm part of the Dollar for Scholars right now. I've helped the PTO for around 8 years with different projects, and I really enjoyed that. With that background and with my work background being the technical operations director, I have to deal with a lot of companies. I deal with throughout the state, fiber optic networks, and throughout the country even, set up networking, dealing with other people. I think bringing that to the board and being part of the board with the changes coming, I think I can be a benefit for technology. I really enjoy working with kids. I've even done Boy Scouts for 10 years. Just watch them learn, watch them grow. It's amazing. So I really enjoy it.
Thank you, Hank. Angie, please share a little bit about yourself and why you are running for the school board.
Ultimately, I've been blessed, and I believe in multiplying blessings. I'm passionate about the process of education, and I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to multiple situations of educational experiences all throughout the nation, honestly. And my passion stems from my own desire that my own kids are provided with quality education, just like these guys mentioned as well. I have students in the middle school, and my husband is also an employee at the middle school. I'm also invested in our community, and I know that our stakeholders have they need this educational system that's going to produce employable graduates, which is so important. And our staff and our faculty and our schools need to know that they are supported and have the means that they can move forward, that they have the curriculum pieces and the manipulatives and the tools that they need to be productive educators. And I want to be a part of that. I think that my experiences in and out of the classroom and being part of our community system is going to be beneficial to our board, and that I'm advocating for students. I'm advocating for the learning process and everyone who's involved there.
Thank you, Angie. Hank, this next question will be starting with you. Describe your involvement with the school community. How has that prepared you to be a school board member?
As I said, for about 10 years, I worked with the PTO in the elementary, and you learn a lot working with the children there, working with the people. Great group of people volunteering every day to work there. We organized events, saw success, worked on that, improved them each year. I think they have some really good programs going. Working with Boy Scouts, doing new programs there, learning where they need improved, adjusting. I really think that's a benefit. And being able to just be around the kids and work with them, learning where they need to be when they graduate. Like I said, I keep saying things are changing, things are happening, and I think we're all going in the right direction of making the changes, but we need to continue this. And that's it.
Great, thank you, Hank. Angie, describe your involvement with the school community and how has that prepared you to be a school board member?
Well, obviously, my involvement with the schools has been mostly in the classroom experience and on the parental end. But I will say, outside of being just in the classroom teaching specifically, the relationships that I've been able to build with families has been such a huge part of the process. Being able to listen to parents and hear their concerns and have an understanding of how that applies to the student learning process, as well as to developing well-rounded citizens who are going to be contributors to our community. I'm also heavily involved in my church and the church groups that are going on there in the Sunday school programming and pieces. And I'm heavily involved in other organizations throughout the community and the secondary educational system as well.
Thank you, Angie. Neil, describe your involvement with the school community and how has that prepared you to be a school board member?
Sure. I've actively participated in the scout system as well, like Kobe has mentioned, or Mr. Kobe's mentioned a few times. I've also assisted on baseball teams as my children have grown up, but I'm really active in the 4-H community as well. I do a lot of judging throughout the communities all across Northeast Indiana, actually, but I also volunteer on the 4-H board in Wells County and Jay County as well. So I think those things have lended itself towards learning about how children learn, and I think that's an important process that I've developed over the years with 4-H. Kids learn different, it depends on the child, and I don't necessarily think that I would have gained that knowledge if I hadn't gone through the 4-H process, so I think that's my answer.
Thank you, Neil. Angie, this next question you'll be first up. What do you see as a school board member's role, and on what will you base your decisions as a school board member?
I believe a school board member's role is to be supportive to both the administration as well as the faculty and staff, and be a listening ear to filter out or filter in, either way, community comments as well as concerns there. So being that active listener to community concerns and comments, as well as providing support to the administration as they are making huge contributions to our schools on a daily basis. As far as the second part of the question was,
what will you base your decisions as a school board member?
My decisions will be based on the feedback from community members, staff, faculty, and families, as well as my own experience have to factor in there somewhat as well, as in addition to the moral and ethical standards that I stand by.
Thank you, Angie. Neil, what do you see as a school board member's role, and on what will you base your decisions as a school board member?
I think listening is a great role for the school board. Listening is great. Realizing that the students are first. I know we all talk about taxpayers and those stakeholders as well, but we have to make sure that we're focusing on the kids first. So I think that would be my main goal, is to make sure that we're doing our best for the kids regardless of cost to the taxpayers. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
On what will you base your decisions as a school board member?
I think I'd base them on logic mostly. I think the engineering background I would base most of my decisions based on logic. Analytics is kind of something that I tend to lean towards for decisions, not a lot of emotional connection. Allow the analytics to kind of make the decisions for us most of the time. So I think that's where I base my decisions.
Great. Thank you, Neil. Hank, what do you see as a school board member's role, and on what will you base your decisions as a school board member?
I think the school board role is their responsibility is to make sure all the students get a high-quality education and ensure the school is efficient, effective, and operated ethically. I like to make sure they have the proper personal programs to help all students, provide technology for the programs, and then make sure the programs are engaging for the students, that they're learning as they're doing them. Also, I think a school board member needs to be seen, maybe not always heard. He should be present at schools at times, at events, listening, not intervening. So when things come up, they actually know how the teachers feel, how students feel, they can hear how the community feels, so they can bring that to the board as well. And most all my decisions will be mostly made for the service of the BHMSD students. Does what we're putting into it benefit the students, and how many students, and how is it overall all the students, or a small part? And is there plans to continue into the other parts if it doesn't cover everyone?
Thank you, Hank.
Yeah.
Neil, what do you see as the biggest challenge for our school district?
I would say probably fiscal responsibility, recognizing where to spend money and when. There's lots of very large capital expenditures that the school systems have to face yearly. Those are big decisions that should not be taken lightly. Taxpayers obviously fund a large portion of this school, so we have to make sure that we're spending our money properly and efficiently and effectively to give our kids the best education and the best environment that we can give them.
Thank you, Neil. Hank, what do you see as the biggest challenge for our school district?
A couple of different things. One, definitely money. You only have so much coming in, so much to go out, so it's really takes a lot of time to sit down and figure out where parts should go, where it can be delayed, where we can come back to it. Second part is, buildings are like homes. You have maintenance, you have to put money into there. And actually for this year, you also look at, the COVID situation, how that's going to progress. You got to plan ahead. If it doesn't lift, what we're going to do at the end of the year, first of next year. We have to have contingencies for all this. But those are the biggest ones, I think.
Thank you, Hank. Angie, what do you see as the biggest challenge for our school district?
Well, I piggyback on what both of these gentlemen said as well. I agree that the fiscal responsibility is obviously a big one, obviously a large component of the functionings of the educational system. I also think an additional component is maintaining our excellent staff and attracting new staff. We know that there's a teacher shortage that we're all experiencing, so making sure that those great new teachers are attracted to come here to serve our students in the best ways possible. And as Hank had mentioned, the COVID situation, everyone has been impacted by that, and making sure that we are cognizant of what those impacts can be as far as the learning process is concerned, and in meeting the social emotional well-being of all our students and staff too.
Thank you, Angie. Hank, what does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
It means investing in the future of our kids, the future of your country. They are the future. I mean, it's our responsibility to make sure they have the education they need through the school system. So when they get out there, they know how to get a job, how to take care of things, make the right decisions. You know, the world is, you know, right now is interesting by far. And we need people to make the right decisions when they get out there so this doesn't keep happening in the world.
Thank you, Hank. Angie, what does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
I think schools are agents for change. The public school system has the opportunity to impact pretty much everyone in our country. Everyone is somehow connected to the public school system in one way or another. And so having the opportunity to give some input and give some support and possibly some guidance and decisions that are being made is a huge responsibility, but one that is met with eloquence here. I believe that our schools are cornerstones for communities. We look to our schools for guidance and support and a safe haven for learning.
Great. Thank you, Angie. Neil, what does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
I think it means building a community of well-educated people. As I mentioned before, this is a community. The school system is a major part of this community, as Angie just mentioned. I think that's a critical role in the school systems, keeping educated people in the workforce in our area, and also bringing in new families, trying to grow the community, not just lose it through attrition. So I think that's the focus that I would have.
Thank you, Neil. Angie, how will you, as a school board member, aid in building partnerships with local businesses and organizations?
I think one of the first pieces of building a solid relationship is obviously open communication, the transparency there, making it very public what your needs are, what your strengths are, and how you can partner together. What do we need you to do? How can you help serve? Where's your part in this? Where's your position? So I believe in that communication and making sure that the standards are set forth honestly and openly so that people have an opportunity to serve is really important.
Thank you, Angie. Neil, how will you, as a school board member, aid in building partnerships with local businesses and organizations?
I think getting out in front of the community is important. You can learn a lot by going and having coffee at the local, breakfast places. So I think just getting out and discussing it, finding where the holes that we need to fill are, finding what the community thinks we need to do, bringing it in front of the administration of the schools, and finding solutions to those problems.
Thank you, Neil. Hank, how will you, as a school board member, aid in building partnerships with local businesses and organizations?
As I've said before, transparency, communication, and even going out and talking to them, make it easy for them to communicate with us, help them show involvement with the schools. Just kind of going to see what they can do, what they're willing to do, and find a fit for them to help. A lot of them are willing to help, but maybe they don't know how, or they don't have the resources to know where they can fit in at. We can do that. We can just talk, communicate, and work it out with them.
Thank you, Hank. Angie, as an elected school board member, what do you hope to accomplish for the students of Bluffton Harrison MSD?
I hope to continue a legacy here that has already been set forth before us, a standard of learning that is optimal. I hope to achieve a place, building an educational society where people feel safe to learn and live and work. I hope to have the impact that our community knows that the school is part of our community basis, that they are part of this system, and I hope to give back. As I mentioned before, I feel very blessed. I feel like I've had many opportunities, and I am encouraged to serve and give back.
Thank you, Angie. Neil, as an elected school board member, what do you hope to accomplish for the students of Bluffton Harrison MSD?
I hope to continue to bring new technologies to the school systems. It's not a secret that technology is changing very rapidly. It has been for many years, but I don't see that slowing down. I think with my background, bringing new and improved technologies to the schools and allowing those to assist our children is going to be on the forefront of my legacy, I hope.
Thank you, Neil. Hank?
Yes. Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. As an elected school board member, what do you hope to accomplish for the students of Bluffton Harrison MSD?
Well, for immediately, within the next 3 or 4 years, definitely want to keep the schools open with the COVID until that's over with. Students learn better in the classroom than they do at home or anywhere else. So we need to do what we can to keep them in the classrooms. We need to continue with, the high school has a 95% graduation rate. That's amazing. I'd like to keep that going. Our classrooms are 16-to-1 ratio for teachers and students, which is below the state average, which is excellent. So we need to keep that going. Then in the future, we need to look at the changes that are happening with the workforces. You got less hands-on mechanical manufacturing jobs are being replaced by robots, things of that nature, helping the kids understand that, the students understand that, what they need to do to get there, and make sure there's job openings when they get there. Follow the path.
Thank you. In closing of tonight's forum, each candidate has 2 minutes to provide any closing comments on issues or areas not addressed in tonight's forum questions. Since we left the off with the final question with Hank, Angie will have the first opportunity for closing comments. Angie.
I'm grateful for the opportunities that have been afforded to me. I am an out-of-the-box thinker. I'm a problem solver. I'm a listener, and I would value the opportunity to use those skills to serve our schools, the schools that I have invested much of my life to, that I almost feel like I've grown up in, even though I wasn't a student here officially. I would love to have that chance to give back, to learn how to serve, to learn how to be a better board member, to learn what the needs are of our schools, to hopefully give back so that my own children can have a better opportunity at future education, as well as my neighbors and those in our community that I haven't yet met. So I'm proud of my history with Bluffton, and I would love to continue being a participant in the system.
Thank you, Angie. Neil, final thoughts?
Sure. Again, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to come in front of this board. This is a good way for us to get in front of everybody and answer some of the questions that the community might have for us. I really hope that I have the opportunity to serve on this board and give back to my community as they've given to me. So,
thank you, Neil. Hank?
To be on the school board would be wonderful. I love the Bluffton school system. I went through it. I've been part of it, been around it. We have a great administration. We have wonderful teachers. We have great volunteers to keep the system going. It's just great to be part of it. To go further, I'm excited if I get the position to go to Indianapolis and learn more about the education system from them, to bring stuff back to here, to give suggestions. With my job with technology, I think I'm in a great position to help with the changes in technology, with communications. I understand it. We can help them understand it. We can make it all happen there. I'm also a person that can agree to disagree. On the board, we can agree to disagree and go on. Don't have to keep on the same subject. It doesn't affect our relationships. We just keep going. My job will be for the students. I'll look for the students and keep it growing. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. Thank you, candidates, for your time. We wish you all the best and the responses during tonight's forum. And thank you to Bluffton Harrison Elementary School PTO for organizing tonight's event. This concludes our forum for tonight. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Thank you. Good to see you. I know. I feel like, we had a divorce or something when we were in constant contact.